r/AskReddit. What secret could ruin your life? A friend of mine I used to hang out with a lot, Chase, told me a bad secret during our sophomore year of high school. We were good friends and smoked a lot together, but we came from a bad neighborhood. Anyways, one day at school, I watch his back when he sells a gram of weed to this guy Terrence, bully senior, real asshole, kinda chunky but played football the year before and was built. As we're walking away, Chase just keeps going on and on about how much of a prick that guy was. After school we both put our money together from ourselves to buy another ounce. As we are smoking, he tells me he needs to tell me something. He says that Terrence guy tried arping his sister at a park, but stopped after she started screaming, who at the time was in 8th grade. Chase tells me how Terrence wanted to buy some weed after school but didn't have enough for a gram. This was after his sister told him what happened. So he said he'd give it to him for free if he stole a few cans of Four Locos. Which was really easy back in the day. After, Chase said he acted like he was really happy about it and smoked him out for free and then gave him a blunt to take home. He told me that when he rolled it earlier he laced it with heroin for Terrence and has been lacing all the weed he sold him with heroin he gets from his uncle, who knew what he was doing, and basically turned Terrence to a junkie. Told me he's been doing it every day for weeks and been charging him double since Terrence doesn't know anyone else to buy off of. That he's even been to his house and got to take some of his shoes, TV, Xbox, iPod, basically everything a teen would want in exchange for more and also to pay off debts. We weren't some buff-ass kids or anything, but our families were heavily gang affiliated and most people knew that. He then tells me he didn't sell him any weed earlier that day but gave him a bit of H. I asked him for free? He said, nah, I had the idiot steal me some jerseys from Foot Locker and I sold them for like $200 at the flea market and started laughing. I did my fair share of ducked up sit throughout high school, but I felt really weird about that. I didn't say anything because I was a gang member at the time, so I didn't feel like I had a right to judge. I never told anyone. We grew apart after that. I moved away from my hometown a year later, but I hear that Terrence has been in and out of rehab/jail and struggling a lot. Pretty much homeless when he's out. Chase's sister is going to prom in a week. That until a week ago I was a heroin user. I'd lose my kids, my family, my job. Everything. Finally just finished the worst of the detox, here's to keeping on keeping on. I don't think I'll ever tell them, even though I am currently clean and have no desire to go back. When I was about 5 years old, my sister, 2 years old, and I were in the backyard in a kiddie pool. When my mom went inside, I attempted to drown my sister. After I saw her lifeless, I realized that it was a big mistake, pulled her out of the pool and called for my mom. Luckily she knew CPR and she was life-flighted to the hospital. My mom thanked me for saving her, pulling her out of the pool. Next week was my birthday. The police, firefighters, paramedics came to my house to give me gifts and celebrate my birthday. To this day, 20 years later, I still think about it. I remember the day so vividly, not a soul knows the real truth. I forged my high school transcripts to get into university. I can't even think about the consequences to my actions if anyone were to ever find out. I'm 3 weeks shy of graduating with a degree in biology. You're an inspiration to delinquents like me everywhere. Good luck graduating. I am in serious debt because of a drug addiction I used to have, of which my family didn't know I had. I'm almost 2 years clean now, but I can hardly pay any bills I have, and I'm afraid to ask any family member for money because I know I can't pay them back in the near future. I want my sister to die. Physically I couldn't kill her, I'm not homicidal. But I wouldn't be upset if she were wiped off the earth under any circumstance. She was horrible to me as kids, but then she changed when we got older and we became very close. I noticed though that she always had some kind of victim around. A couple years ago I found out her daughter had been repeatedly arped by her stepdad, my sister's husband. My sister knew about the abuse and did nothing until my niece found help on her own. It's destroyed my family. We all hate my sister to some degree, but no one as much as me. And I have to pretend to be nice because she has 2 little girls with her husband and I need to stay close to them. I have my niece living with me and she needs to have a life with her sisters. She and her mom are no contact. So I suck it up and deal. But I constantly wish my sister would die and leave us in peace. Since nobody knows who I am on this account, I will say it here. There is an autistic kid at school. He keeps telling me he is going to shoot up the school, constantly asks if I want it. I always get scared and say no. He says he will not shoot me and shoot girls so I can have them. He says he wants to join ISIS and become a terrorist. The thing is that he is either making really dark jokes, or he is just very mentally handicapped. I would feel like garbage if I told on him because I don't want the autistic kid to get in trouble. He might not know what he is talking about, but at the same time, if he does something, I don't think I would be able to live with myself. Edit. I am going to tell my dean, I promise. I appreciate you all telling me what I should do. Most people are under the impression that I do very well when it comes to talking to women, but not only have I not had actual sex in months, but the last time I did have sex I was up-ed. I was out of town and I stumbling home from a bar. I was so drunk that I couldn't find my hotel, so I decided to hitchhike. A guy picked me up and took advantage of me. I was so drunk that I only remember bits and pieces. I can't remember his face either. It doesn't really affect me that much because I try to pretend it never happened. When I do think about it though, it does hurt a lot. I never thought it would happen to me. I was so wrong. When I was 23, I finally found out why we would always leave the family parties if a certain great uncle showed up. Turns out he had molested his own children for years. Then he adopted younger children every few years and did it more. He eventually went to jail in the 80s and 90s, and people would still take his kids to visit him in jail. They hated it. Anyways, I find out later that we would always leave fast because he molested my mother when she was a child. Around 4 or 5 years old. My family is close and that made me rage. And then I find out that he had recently been in trouble again, got similar things. Found him on the sex offenders list. Went to his house at night. Knocked in his door and asked if I looked familiar. I beat the shit out of him and took money and some values. Threatened him. Left. No one knows to this day. He made up a story on what happened to him. Apparently he still goes to family events. TLDR, I killed my family. One night about a decade ago, when I was 8 years old, I couldn't sleep at night, so I was just walking around the house, looking for something to do. It was winter, so there was fire in the fireplace. I started playing with it, throwing stuff into it, watching how it burns. At one point, a big log rolled out of the fireplace. As a kid, I started to panic. I tried to cover it with a blanket, then ran out to the kitchen to get some water. When I came back, the whole living room was on fire. It was a wooden house. I was terrified, ran out of the house. Literally within a minute, it was burning like crazy. My older sister, younger brother, and mom, who was pregnant at the time, all died instantly. Dad was working a night shift. No one really questioned me. My room had window, and I said I left through it when I saw the fire. The real cause has never been found. My dad was absolutely devastated and a few weeks later shot himself. I found his body. I've been living with my grandparents ever since. No one knows what really happened that night. I spent half of my life with therapists. I hate myself, have a severe depression, attempted a suicide a while ago. The girl who was my best friend and my fiancé at one point committed suicide. I have proof that she faked it, and she's now living with a very rich 50-year-old man. She's 21. I know these people and she didn't even leave the city. Everyone thinks she passed away, and there is even a tombstone with her name on it. I don't know whose body is in there, but it's not hers. My best friend had a girlfriend in a different state. They were dating for almost 2 years. We all were friends and talked, and after they broke up, we kept talking. We both came to realize we had feelings for each other. I had a cousin in the same state who I went to visit over spring break. We met up and ducked. He has no idea we ever talked, and if he ever did, I don't think he would speak to me anymore.